County and other counties in north central West Virginia have been very positive towards student travel in like 30 years since leaving teaching. Now with the Common Core and Smarter Balance, it seems that that's what's taking center stage. That's all been addressed. By forcing travel into the fall, there are ramifications that you don't see. First of all, less chance for money to be raised for those kids who are poorer and really don't have much of a chance to go anywhere at all. Their world is this big, and apparently it's going to remain that big. Less chance for parent involvement and more teacher frustration. Most teachers are saying, just not going to do it. So there's more at-risk students who are not going to have an opportunity that travel actually changes lives. Most of you know this to be a fact. There's some confusion, though, in the meaning of student travel. I want to clarify. There's a difference between educational student travel. A well-planned, well-researched, well-organized trip is different than just any trip you would go on. A typical 2 or 3 days in New York, Washington, Chicago, Williamsburg, wherever it may be. A field trip is something that's done during the day, typically in class time. Be back in time for the school bus to run. We go to Kennywood, we go to the Pittsburgh Zoo, we go to Sky Zone, we jump and jump and jump, and we go see how ice cream's made or how newspapers are printed. Okay? Don't get that confused with educational travel. Educational travel has 600 to almost 900 contact minutes in every day that we're on tour. You can't touch that. Those 600 to 900 minutes are lessons that will last a lifetime. I would challenge you that 10 years, 20 years, or 30 years from now, the itinerary that we just completed with the Harrison County Gifted Program, those children will recount in detail that will make your brain hurt 10, 20, or 30 years from now, those lessons, because all the senses were involved. You can't touch that in a classroom. Yet with Common Core, we have determined that we learn by sitting. I don't care if you duct tape the kids to the chair and feed them lunch at their desk. You can't make children learn. You have to light a fire. That fire has to be lit in grades 4 through 9. There are statistics that will blow your mind. Kids who travel in grades 4 through 9, in a study done over 20 years and turned over to West Virginia University, less than a 3% dropout rate over a 20-state area. That includes kids from all economic ratio in schools like 4th grade trips, 5th grade trips, class trips, 8th grade class trips. One of the things, too, we just rewarded all these children who worked so hard all year, yet you don't realize all festivals, all competitions, all showcases for those kids occur in the springtime. You banned that. They can't go and showcase and compete with other people for the top honors, not only in Harrison County, but nationwide. Travel provides lessons that last a lifetime. I want to share on a Common Core side one thing. My father-in-law is Jerry Jackson. He was the former board treasurer, Braxton County. In 1972, he is the founder and inventor of Math Field Day. Math teacher at WVU, high school math teacher, accounting firm, still very active. With grandchildren, including my son in the 6th grade and grandchildren in Braxton County, he was challenged by us to send Papa some math questions. We need help. Let me tell you what's missing. I'm going to tell you something real quick here. That the thing that's missing in the Common Core is, and I listen as an educator, I really listen to the pros and cons. I'm concerned, especially about any kind of a major change like this, but I listen to the cons and the pros, and I want to hear the pros say is, well, we need to spend more time implementing this and training teachers on how to do it. We need to help them implement. Well, if it's that complicated, it seems to me teachers have 4-year degrees, years of experience, master's degrees plus, and we have to specialize training. Can I ask you, who's training the parents to help do homework? You're sending homework home and we have no clue. We sent this down, this page, this email, simple math question, okay? Counting up. Never heard of that. Subtraction method. My father-in-law worked on it for several hours. He emailed back. Hogwash. I wasted 2 sheets of paper trying to subtract 107 from 1,782 by counting up method. Never did figure it out. Guess I need training beyond my MS degree in mathematics from WVU to figure this out. Good luck, teachers and parents. Okay, seriously? And somehow you're implementing this, but yet you're going to take out something that is proven beyond a shadow of a doubt has changed lives. Mrs. Imperial, Frankie, Doug, all of you who have been on trips know that travel changes lives. It takes the kids who have, I'm sorry, I didn't even look at the clock. It takes kids who have almost no experience. Where they are born isn't where they have to stay. The American dream is available, but if they never see it, I don't think they're going to believe it. So, in my opinion, seeing is believing. Thank you for your time.
That takes us down to the superintendent's update.
Mr. President, we have a number of things here for brevity. And part of that was standardized testing, which Mr. Daughtery has asked that we have the opportunity to speak to, which I'm going to recognize him in a second as part of my superintendent's update. I've given you some information that I felt was pertinent as it relates to the testing and where we are right now, what's going on, and some insight. But now, Mr. President, if there's no objection, obviously, as a board member, Michael, if you want to speak to the standardized test and some of the things that you want to discuss.
Thanks, thank you, Mr. President. I do not believe that the Smarter Balance test is fair and accurate in any way. I don't think it takes into account the 504s or the IEP students. It doesn't account for students who are sick or parents are going through a divorce. It doesn't take into account the stresses that they feel, and I don't believe it is. I don't think it's right. I agree with you, your parents, and I know others may disagree with me on this, and we're allowed to disagree. The parents, I've talked, well, not the parents, the teachers and the students I've talked to said something that should take them 2 hours. The students do in 5 minutes. They just write down whatever, because they know it doesn't count towards any of their grades. The students that I deal with in class, and the students I've talked to, said, yeah, I just write down whatever. It doesn't count. Well, it has no bearing on their future, so they write down whatever they want to. But yet, I'm supposed to, well, we as a board, or we as a state, are supposed to assess that student on his 5 minutes of scribble, because it doesn't count whatsoever. I've talked to teachers who said that their school is taking 4 weeks to take a practice test. 4 weeks to take a practice test, and then the test could take up to a week to 2 weeks to do, because they're trying to jockey for the computer lab for them to take the test. So that is 6 weeks of no education, what's going on in the classroom other than you're taking this test. One of the teachers I talked to said that in this practice test, one of their students scored very, very, very low in the elementary level, scored very low, and they thought, man, she needed to have an IEP, she needed to get some special education. One of the teachers spoke up and said, no, I don't believe that's true from this student. I mean, they're excellent. They went back with the student, did the test again. It turns out that student did not know how to scroll. Used iPad, but did not know how to use the scroll on the mouse. Once that student figured out how to use the scroll, they scored the best in the entire school. But yet, if it was done the first time, we would have assessed that student and said, you need to be in special education classes, you need an IEP, dear God, how you doing? I don't agree with this test whatsoever. It does not count. I spoke with both of the teachers' unions, and both of them do not like the teacher climate, and they're excited for change. Both agreed that we need to open up a dialogue and then look to research for alternate means of testing. Now, this is just little old me thinking here. What I would love to see, instead of that one big test being done, I mean, Dr. Manchin, when we did your assessment, it wasn't just that, hey, we're going to grade you today. It was a look at your entire time. What I would like to do is have portfolios, a year-long portfolio of that student. All their tests, all their major projects, all their big things that they've done for the entire year is then put into this portfolio. And at the end of the year, instead of a one monster test, that if they fail or they don't, or they stress out, or the parents are getting divorced, whatever, they mess up and you're going to judge that kid on that. And then ultimately you're going to judge the teacher on that child who's stressed out, or sick, or has an IEP, or 504. What I'd like to see is a portfolio done where we can grade that student by his entirety. This is him throughout the entire year. So if a parent has questions, what's my child being taught? They can come in and look at that student's portfolio. That's how industry does it. It's your portfolio. When I was a comedian, I had a video portfolio that I would send saying, this is me. This is what I do. It's like, a very large resume. That's what we do. I want to grade these students. I want to assess these students on their level. If we do a portfolio or something like, it doesn't have to be that. This is just little me. If we had something where we could look at a student and we could judge them over their entirety and look at, okay, did they meet all the CSSs or CSOs? Did they meet all these things that the teachers are supposed to teach? If a parent had a question, what's my child being taught? And go in and look at it. If a principal said, well, what is the teacher teaching? And go in and look at the portfolios. Oh, man, I can see what's going on. You're judging a student on their entirety. Now, what's exciting, I know, I talked to Dr. Manchin about this, and he said that he has no problem with us looking at alternative ways of testing. We have to come up with something. It's not going to happen overnight, but he's not opposed to it. So I know a lot of you are frustrated with him. There's a lot of stuff that's handed down from the state that are on a local level. Our hands are tied, but we were open to. He's open. I'm with you guys, and I want to do something. So I'm already talking to the teachers' unions. They're talking to other people. We're going to try to come up with a plan that we can come up with some alternative ways that will meet the assessment. Ultimately, that's what it is. How do we assess our students? So I'd like to grade a student over the entirety of their year instead of just going, it's one time. Also, I think you can do away with the end of the year test. I mean, that's just me. Because what's that end of the year? Say, what do they learn? Well, if I have their portfolio, it shows them exactly what they learned. And that's my idea, and that's my words.
We talked, and I'm going to talk some more about this. Mr. President, the next, and again, the time is we look up here, the RCB turf, I don't want anything controversial to be discussed tonight, so the RCB turf project up here. But you asked me if you, and I want to refresh you all, last February, and then really at the beginning of the fall, to take a look